And with a 4 days, really, until the next election, the candidates are making a last-ditch effort to campaign in battleground states. Election anxiety is reportedly up 18% from 2016, with 70% of Americans stressed out about what could happen. So I guess the real question is, Joy, what are you most worried about?
First of all, I love your crown. Fabulous. I guess
Thank
that's
you.
a sort of your
Thank
attempt
you.
at Halloween, right?
Do you know why
your...
I'm wearing it?
Yes, very nice. No, why?
A little bit. Yes, I'm Meghan Markle, who's been in the sun for too long.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, it's very appropriate and very good.
Yes.
I personally am happy we don't have costumes
you.
this year. I can't stand those costumes. So, I mean, that's my thing.
I know.
23 years of costumes. This is the first year I've gotten a break. But, so what am I worried about? I'll tell you, I'm worried about, seriously, these secret Trump supporters. I'm worried about them because before the election, when they voted for him, they could say, well, he's a businessman, we hate politicians, he's something different, But now it's different. Now they know he's a misogynist. They know he's a racist. They know that he separated little children from their parents and had no plan to reunite them. They know that he has mismanaged this COVID crisis. And they also know that he deliberately did not do the right thing by all of these people who are getting this disease. He deliberately did the wrong thing. We know that because of the tape with Bob Woodward. We know that because of the tape with Jared Kushner. So they know this now. So they can't hide behind it. I mean, unless they don't tell people they're going to vote for him. Unless they tell each other. I guess each other they can tell, but don't tell. They can't tell regular people anymore because they're basically admitting that they are the same as him.
Right. And what about you, Anna? What's your anxiety up about, if anything?
Girl, are you kidding? 3 days away from the election? I'm anxious about everything. I'm anxious about how the rain's going to affect voting. I'm anxious about the Postal Service and ballots not getting there on time. I'm very concerned about outstanding mail-in ballots. People who requested ballots by mail and have not returned them. I can tell you that in Florida, here's the number. There's 1.78 million ballots, mail-in ballots that have been requested, not yet returned. Of those, 733,000 are Democrats. So, look, my message to people who are maybe sitting home with a mail-in ballot that hasn't been returned is fill it out, mail it. If you wake up November 4th and your candidate of choice was not elected, you're going to feel like you just had 2 bottles of cheap tequila the night before, but your hangover is going to last for 4 years. So do yourself a favor and fill out that ballot, return it, go put it into a ballot box return. It's getting a little late to put things in the mail.
Yeah, too late.
Yeah. And what about you, Sonny? What's your biggest concern or worry?
My biggest worry is the continued efforts by the Republican Party, quite frankly, for voter suppression. I mean, I was on a call last night with Black Voters Matter, a group started by Latasha Brown. She's a fellow at Harvard. And there were just so many women, Black women, organizing in different states, Georgia, Texas, Kentucky, Florida. And the biggest concern was the continued efforts at voter suppression. I mean, people at the polls trying to intimidate voters, people, filing lawsuits, trying to quash the vote. And I'm really concerned because this is a global pandemic and you have seniors waiting on lines for 4, 5, 6 hours. During a global pandemic, and we know that the pandemic, at least in this country, has disproportionately affected Black and brown communities, and at great health risk to themselves, they are still standing on lines trying to vote. So I'm really concerned about their well-being, and I'm concerned about the fact that their votes may not be registered and may not matter. So that's
what
my
scares
biggest concern.
What scares me too is people relying on the polls. I have PTSD from 2016, and I remember the polls looked pretty good for Hillary Clinton the week before the elections. You know, she had a bunch of fireworks ready to go election night that were never lit. And so, you know, I hope people are not relying on the polls and thinking that that means they don't have to go out and vote, that they don't have to go stand in line, they don't have to return their ballot, they can vote for, you know, whomever they want, a third party or write-in Mickey Mouse. We've learned our lesson after 2016.
Right.
Voting matters. Every vote matters.
Right.
Well, I think the most exciting thing that we can really talk about is how many people are out. People are coming out regardless of the weather, regardless of the so-called intimidation that's out there. People are out and they're not playing. And people are saying, if I feel like you haven't gotten my vote or I mailed it and I'm in that group that Anna's talking about, you need to take yourself over to the registration places that you have in your town and say, I want to make sure my vote got where it's supposed to be. Can you tell me if you got it? You have the time now. Go and talk to people. If you're not sure, go find out. People are out there because they have decided that nobody has the right to tell them as an American that they can't or shouldn't vote for the person they want to vote for. People are out and they're coming out every day. And maybe, again, as I said yesterday, this is a big old hello to all the governments to know that people will come out and vote if you help them find the time that they can do it. If you just try to force the time to be one thing, people have a harder time getting out. Maybe this is a good way to gauge where we need to be as a nation when it comes to voting. But people are out and they are not playing, honey. They are out, they're voting in droves.